Hello everyone, this is Fitz Wynn, and you're watching Connect the Dots. It's Days of Teaching School. Connect the dots to your homeschool. And we had a few technical difficulties, caused me to be a little late, and I still think there might be a bit of a delay with the video, but I'm going to push through anyway. As I was thinking about what we'd cover on today and how we stay connected as families, how we stay connected as homeschool parents, I thought of the difficulty of what that I faced as a single parent. And hi Danielle, thanks for checking in. Just the challenge of going it alone as a single parent, and sometimes feeling like there's an additional challenge as a single homeschooling parent. So if any of you out there that are checking us out want to share with us some of your challenges, how you met them, or share with us some of your inspirations or suggestions for how we meet those challenges. The biggest challenge I think that we possibly have as single parents is maintaining that bond with the family, being able to keep things connected as we go through our day-to-day activities, whether it's teaching or you've got some time off from school. What do you do? How do you manage the cooking and the cleaning and the other responsibilities, making certain that you get your kids to activities, or making certain there are activities or enough money to go around for activities? How do you maneuver these challenges of single parenting? I know back in the day when I was newly single, newly widowed, I had a fantastic support system that just, seemed to come from many different places and provide me with some stopgap measures, I guess I'd say. Making certain our kids got to certain activities, making certain that, if errands were run and I wasn't able to do any of the errands, they actually took care of those for me. So with connecting the dots, it's days of teaching school, but it's also being able to rise to the challenge of staying connected. How do you keep the siblings connected? Or if it's an only child, how are you? What are you doing that's keeping that child feeling connected through whatever the circumstances that have occurred and brought you into single parenting? I'd love to hear from you. Thanks, Danielle, for checking in. I wonder, are you a single parent? Are there any single parents out there? And parenting is a challenge any way you look at it, no matter how you slice it. It is a challenge. But again, what do you do? What do you do on days when it's just you, and it's just you and the kids? How do you manage not to start pulling your hair out or feeling discouraged, or what do you do for inspiration? It's great if you have a mentor, and I highly recommend finding someone that has perhaps walked that path of being a single parent, but that's not necessarily the only person that can mentor you. You can have a mentor that is a part of a married couple, but able to help you navigate the whole water. Okay, thanks. So yes, you are a single mom of 2 kids. what do you do when you find that you're having to make a challenge? And are these really young kids, or what do you do to meet that challenge, Danielle? I'll tell you again, not only did I have a great support system, but I did have a really great mentor. And she was able to give me some insight on just things that had never occurred to me at all that I would have to deal with as a single parent. Hello, Gwen from Arizona. Just joined in. Well, we're talking about staying connected. This is Connect the Dots, and we are talking about single parenting and the challenges of going it alone, and what we do to keep that bond within the family, with the siblings, and with the parent. And it is a challenge, whether we are shuttling kids back and forth between mom and dad if there's a custody situation, or if, as I was, widowed and you have young kids, there is a challenge. And it's just so nice to sometimes know that you are not, even though you're going alone, it's so nice to know that you aren't alone with it. There's a lot of single parents, and sometimes a support group works, and sometimes it doesn't work. Some folks are overwhelmed with being in a support group just of single parents, and others find it's really something you need. One thing that I had found that was very helpful to me was starting a single parent support group, and we did activities, kept kids involved, kept kids active, not so much to take their mind off what was going on, to bring as much normality to what they were doing. So Gwen says that she's not a single mom, but her husband deploys 6 months at a time. So I have to do it alone for a while. That's true. And it is very often when that husband is deployed or travels a lot on business, you feel almost as though you are a single parent. And in some regards, just the whole doing it alone, you are very much able to empathize with what we go through as single moms. Hello, Trish from Utah. Yeah. From the UK. All right, that's a neat typo. That's fine. So, what do you ladies do? What's your support system? What's your whole base of support when you are going it alone? And how do you keep yourself? We're great as most of the time in keeping our children encouraged and inspiring them. And again, as I said, finding activities for them so that they're not feeling so isolated or called out as kids from single parent homes. But what do you do? Gwen says single moms are superheroes, and sometimes you feel like you have to be their hero. Trish Lee's, well said. Exactly. You are a lot of superheroes all rolled up into one, and you're doing a balancing act in so many ways. You're talking about multitasking. We redefine multitasking many times, many days. So what do you ladies do? How do you perform some of those superhero activities? For me, I'll tell you, some days it was just getting myself up out of the bed and getting started, knowing that I had a whole list of things to do. Again, I seem to have been the only single parent in my close group of friends, but there were other single parents that I knew, and sometimes I felt kind of like the odd duck, but for the most part they were very supportive and genuine. And I really, as I look back, that is pretty much how I got through, and how my kids got through with their, with their playmates, with their mates that would come by and do things. Being the only decision maker sometimes is a challenge as well. For some simple things sometimes, even in the grocery store, I'm like, well, should I get this or should I get that? Am I going to have enough for this, or do I want to do something else? And just simple decisions sometimes, I can blow them up and make them really, really huge when they're not. But I do miss having someone to just run a very simple, very quick, what do you think about this, by. Gwen says, it's a lot of moving through the motions and just getting through the day. Absolutely. And yet, being able to help our children see our authenticity as we do it, to also not mask some of the difficult days, the days that are just hard. I did try to spare my kids from, a lot of meltdowns that I might have had, but by and large, I think that sometimes it helps them to know that, yeah, this is a challenge. We're not just happy sunshine all the time, but it's a challenge, and this is how we're going to get through it, or this is my idea for how we're going to actually make it through that day. So yeah, it's just going through the motions and memorizing those motions and knowing what those motions are. And Danielle says, I do agree with you, and saying, and I guess she's still typing it out, going through those motions, and sometimes just looking at the clock, is it end of the day, or I'm ready to put them to bed and end my day. Although going it alone, sometimes at the end of the day it seems even longer. Gwen says it helped her daughter seeing her cry, knowing that it's okay to let it go some days. And I agree with you, being genuine, being authentic, letting them know that these are all very normal emotions, and not trying to be a superhero to the extent that they feel like something's wrong with them because they are given to their emotions or the feeling bad. Some days you just have to let it go. And then we also had some days where we just did some silly things just to have a laugh. And laughter is so good, and it's so healthy, and it's so easy most of the time. I talked about decision making and how that's a challenge, and thank you for whoever's sending those hearts across the screen. I talked about the challenge of decision making, but I find too that the more I've had to make major decisions, I'm getting better at it, and learning how to really analyze and to take my time and to make the decisions that are best for my family and that will positively affect them. Gwen says, and I think she's talking about the laughter that we have, it's the best release. But so is the crying, too. Both of those are such deep emotions that sometimes, as we are just going through the motions of the day, we don't really realize how intense we can become, and how heavy those emotions begin to weigh on us. And when we find that thing that is just so nonsensical, that makes us laugh, it feels like such a burden is lifted. And I mean, I, for one, feel like, okay, I'm going to do another day. I can do this. This is good. We're able to push through, and pushing through is important. Forgive me, I'm just going to say this now, but I do believe that letting them see our emotions, learning to make our decisions, pushing through, and character building. We're character building for our kids, and it has been very character building for me as well. I just need to tell you, I am at the Southeast Homeschool Expo in Atlanta, and boy, the Renaissance it's a fabulous hotel, but I'm a little concerned about my internet connection. So I hope that you'll stay with me and keep the conversation going. How do you stay connected? So we've talked about laughing and crying. We stay connected that way. But what do you folks do for fun? What's fun for your kids? What helps them to push through? I can tell, I was always, well, not always, but most of the time I could tell when my kids were going to have a tough day. Whether it was just from our dialogue, maybe an expression, maybe they were a little slow in what I needed them to do, or slow in responding. I could tell they were going to have a tough day. And I always tried to have, as the saying goes, a little trick up my sleeve, a little something special for each of them to, make the day better or help the day go along. And I'm not talking about any expensive gifts or trips or anything like that, but maybe there was a coloring book I had been saving, or maybe a special outfit, maybe a special book that I knew they wanted to read, and we would read together. Just simple things, but to be able to look at your kids and know that it's a tough day. And to those of you that are military moms, I certainly had plenty of friends who, when their husband deployed, we reconnected on a different level. But the same thing, doing FaceTime with Dad while he was away, or Skyping. If there's some way that you can use technology to help you connect, and have you done that? And how did it work? Does it work? I mean, does it make it better? Or did you find that it made it a bit more difficult for your children to have that temporary connection and then go for, a couple of more days or maybe even a month time without having that connection? What does that look like when you are making those temporary connections? One thing that was really great for us is having older siblings of my husband who stepped in, uncles that would step in, or my older cousins who would come by and sweep the kids up and take them some places and do things for them. Thanks for the hearts. Do things with them and for them. Kind of lighten up their day. It was great. So we're talking about staying connected and how we connect the dots. How we connect the dots of going it alone, being single parents, and not being in a depressed state about it all the time, not being, just cranky. How we can keep our emotions, being those superheroes that keep their emotions in check, and make it pleasant for our kids to be around us. Because, we can make it unpleasant, whether we're single parents or not. We can make it unpleasant for our kids to be around us, but also our friends, being able to connect with other friends, whether they're single parents or not, and learning to keep the spotlight off of us, because yes, we have challenges. Yes, in my estimation, it stinks sometime, and yes, it's hard, but everyone has issues, and the issues just depend on where they are in life, you know. But what's your end goal? What is your end goal as you teach your children, or as you homeschool, or as you prepare your kids for life's journey? What's the end goal? And that is to continue teaching them coping skills. You know, what coping mechanisms are your children learning as they see you doing life as a single parent? I'd love to hear from you, and give me some of your ideas, and share some of your end goals if you want to with some of the moms that are checking in with us. Where do you help your kids, you know, move through again those difficult days and those difficult times? My support system after these past couple of years is still in place. And even though I don't need the support in the same way, we still find time to get together. What we would do is, well, one thing that I loved to do was have what I called girlfriends. Just be amazing. Okay, maybe you lost me, but I used to do a girlfriends dinner, and we'd all bring something. There'd be a theme, and there would be a movie, and we'd spend time together watching the movie, but mainly talking and catching up, and supporting one another, and it was absolutely great. Well, I am super happy that you joined me on today, and I'm not going to say just hang in there, but be in there. Be completely in there. Stay connected with your kids. Stay connected with your friends, and stay connected with family as best you can. This is Connect the Dots. Heart for Homeschool is our organization that has the Connect the Dots Challenge, and you can find out more about keeping your family connected at www.heartforhomeschool.org. That's www.heartforhomeschool.org. And we look forward to seeing you again on next Thursday at 7 p.m. Join us for Connect the Dots. Bye, ladies. Thanks for joining me. See you next time.